The Chicago Bulls 2020-2021 season has come to a close. Let's recap what we saw, starting now. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page because we do talk Chicago sports weekly. We don't want you to miss a thing, so make sure that you hit that bell. Now, this season for the Chicago Bulls was all about evaluation, all about getting AK, Billy Donovan and Mark Eversley in here, seeing what they see, seeing what they believe is going to work best for the Chicago Bulls moving forward. And I think we saw a good amount of that, right? We saw completely different lineups in and out of the rotation. And honestly, I'd say it probably wasn't until somewhere near the All-Star break that Billy Donovan kind of started rolling with the lineup that he thought was going to win him the most amount of games and was going to be the best for the Chicago Bulls moving forward. And then right in the middle of all of that, the big shakeup happens. Oh my goodness, we got Nikola Vucevic in the building. We got Zach LaVine paired up with Nikola Vucevic, and this can't be happening. How are we getting here? The trade that nobody saw coming, right? Nobody saw coming. I mean, AK kept that under wraps like it was military secrets. Impressive. But I think that set the Bulls back again, kind of right back at the beginning where Billy Donovan's trying to find his rotation and things like that. But I think you got to break this down to me in a few different categories when you're talking about how did the Bulls do this season? Did the Chicago Bulls improve in 2020-2021? And I think that you can definitively say that they can. They finished the season 31-41. But wins alone, you can say that they improved in that aspect. I think that just watching how the team played together, now it looks a lot better coming off of a win versus the Milwaukee Bucks, but just watching how the team played together this season, one, you didn't see a ton of Vooch and Zach together. You would have loved to see more of that. Zach missing a lot of time due to COVID-19. Vooch had a couple of injuries early on there. I think Zach had some injuries early on there too. But you really got to see that dynamic playing out. You really got to see them starting to come together, but it was kind of too little too late at that point. You know what I'm saying? And so when I'm looking at this Bulls team, I'm looking at the season, I'm really looking at the last maybe 20 games, because everything from the beginning that we saw, minus some of the players that did stay here, really started over as soon as Vooch got in here, as soon as those new faces got in here. Daniel Tice as well got in here, and you're watching them trying to get acclimated to what's happening on the court. I think that you really have to look at a condensed breakdown of this Chicago Bulls team, because this Chicago Bulls team is not the same Chicago Bulls team that we had in the beginning of the season. I mean, the beginning of the season, we were talking about how weak the Bulls were defensively in the paint. We were talking about how they were getting dominated by big men every night. We didn't talk about that the entire second half of the season. And so I think that really makes the biggest difference. And you have to look at, there was that portion of time where one, Zach wasn't there, and Vooch is trying to get acclimated to Billy's system. Tice is trying to get acclimated to Billy's system. Zach comes back. Zach ends up getting COVID. Now they still haven't gotten that mesh. I think towards the end, you saw the two of them when they were both on the floor together, when the Bulls started picking up a couple of those wins. You saw how, okay, we got it. Okay, we got the feel for each other. We know what each other can do. Dominant. So I'm excited for next season. I'm absolutely excited for next season. And AK set his bar high in his first season here. Now, before I continue with the video, I want to know how you guys feel. How do you think the Chicago Bulls did in the 2020-2021 season? Of course, no playoffs, but did they improve? I'll be down there talking with you in the comments as well. Now, the other thing for me that I think you have to look at with this Bulls team is development of players that were here. And I'll be one to say, listen, I hopped off of the Kobe White train completely. I completely hopped off of the Kobe White train. I was like, I didn't think he was a bust. I just thought he was being put in the wrong position, and he was not improving at the position he was being put in, right? And I think that was fair to say. We saw some games early in that season that Kobe White just did not look good. But I have to give credit to the player development, to Mo Cheeks, to Billy Donovan, to that staff down there, because when I tell you, if we're still looking at that condensed second half of the season, that small section where these guys were all working together, Kobe White improved so much. he improved so much. He played so well in that second half of the season, and that speaks to the player development of the Chicago Bulls. Patrick Williams improving continually throughout the season, and I'll give you one further. Seeing Patrick Williams be able to improve now, I think in the second half he hit a bit of that rookie wall. I think that he struggled a little bit against some of those defensive assignments that he was put up against, but he was asked to literally, hey, go guard the greatest in the world. Huh? What? How do we get here? But I really think that we saw the player development on this team take a huge step this season because, one, players are getting developed again. I feel like we haven't seen that in so long, and players were getting the opportunity to develop. They were getting the opportunity to test out their game. As much as we'll probably be moving on from Larry Markkinen, which I think is going to be best for the Bulls. I'll probably have a video coming out about that. But as much as we'll probably be moving on from Larry Markkinen, you can't say that this season Larry didn't get his opportunity to be the star, to become the face of the Chicago Bulls. Larry was put out there profusely, too often, I believe, to the point where I was like, okay, you got to put him on the bench, guys. Like, I can't. It's not working. It's not working, and it just wasn't. But we saw this season players being given an opportunity, players being given the chance to prove that they were a starting player, or at least meant to be in this rotation. I mean, how often did we see Denzel Valentine get put into the rotation just because Denzel was actually playing good at a certain point? Denzel had a stretch there where I was like, yo, I can't even say that I'm gonna get this man 5 buckets no more. Like, he actually is hooping, and then right back to the old Denzel. But I really like how the team was handled, especially the young guys. I like the player development that we saw this season, and I think that we saw players improve, players stand out and become key pieces of this Chicago Bulls team moving forward. And again, that's just something we hadn't seen from this Chicago Bulls team in a while. So, like I said, a disappointing season that we didn't make the playoffs. I thought that AK set the bar on this, that this was his attempt to make the playoffs. He wanted to get in to the playoffs. But a lot of things were obstacles for the Bulls, especially just inside their own building, not even going out and losing games, but just inside of their own building. And you were working from behind the 8 ball, especially with the start you got off to. I believe they went on like a 6-game losing streak for a while there, and there were some tough stretches. There were some tough stretches this season, but all in all, I would say that the Chicago Bulls absolutely improved and are heading in the right direction. When you look at this team, if you think they're not heading in the right direction, I think the Chicago Bulls are once again a free agent destination. When we're talking about play on the court, when we're talking about appeal from the organization, they're with AK and Mark Eversley in there and Billy Donovan, it's just appealing. It looks good. It feels good. It seems like players are going to look at this team and be like, hey, look, I don't mind coming to that organization. And AK said in his interview when they traded for Vooch, we're just getting started. We ain't done yet. So I would expect some more changes coming to the Madhouse on Madison, and I'm excited to see what the offseason is gonna bring for the Chicago Bulls. Now we go into draft breakdown. Now we go into watching Marko Semenovic videos to see how good this dude really is. It's gonna be a fun offseason, Bulls fans. We hope you stick around with us for all of it. But as always, I want to know how you guys feel. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think the Chicago Bulls improved in the 2020-2021 season? I'll be down there talking with you as well. As always, it is your boy Pat the Designer, back at it again to continue watching our Chicago Bulls content. Click the links here or check the links in the description below. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Peace.